Well, look who decided to come back for more. Welcome back to Void Logic. Did you miss me? I know it has been a while. Some of you probably thought I was gone for good. You thought the show was over, that I finally packed up my bags and joined the rest of the mindless herd. You thought I got a desk job, put on a suit, and started caring about things like credit scores and retirement plans. Oh, that is hilarious. It really is. But no, madness does not just disappear. It just takes a little vacation to sit back and watch the world burn itself down for a bit. And let me tell you, watching you all scramble around like ants when someone kicks your little anthill, it is the best entertainment money cannot buy. But before we get into the real joke today, we have to play by the rules of this little digital circus. You see, the people who run this platform, they love numbers, they love metrics, they love seeing you obey. So, let us give them what they want, shall we? I want you to go down there and hit that like button. Do not just tap it, smash it like it is the alarm clock waking you up for a miserable Monday morning. And if you are watching this and you are not subscribed to Void Logic yet, what is wrong with you? Do you enjoy living in the dark? Hit subscribe, join the chaos, and while you are at it, leave a comment down below. Tell me about the absolute worst, most ridiculous rule you force yourself to follow every single day just because society tells you it is the right thing to do. Go ahead, confess. It makes the algorithm happy, and we all know how much you love being obedient little citizens. Now, let us talk about why we are really here. Embrace the chaos. Why society's rules are holding you back. Look around you. Take a really good look at the world you live in. You wake up every single morning at exactly the same time. Why? Because a little digital box next to your bed tells you to. You put on clothes that someone else decided are appropriate. You drink your coffee, you get into a metal box on wheels, and you sit in traffic. You wait for a light bulb to turn green before you move. You wait for it to turn red before you stop. You are taking orders from a light bulb, and you think you are free. You think you are in control of your own destiny. That is the funniest joke I have ever heard. You see, society is built on this grand illusion, an illusion of order. The people in charge, the ones wearing the expensive ties and making the laws, they want you to believe that without their rules, the world would just fall apart. They want you to believe that without them telling you what to do, you would turn into monsters. But they are the real monsters. They are terrified. They are so absolutely terrified of what they would do if the lights went out permanently that they created this massive, complicated web of rules just to keep themselves in check. Morals, ethics, laws, they are just a bad joke. A comforting lie you whisper to yourselves so you can sleep safely in your beds at night. But what happens when things do not go according to plan? What happens when the script gets torn up? Let me tell you about plans. Everybody has a plan. Go to school. Get good grades. Go to college. Get a massive amount of debt. Find a job. Work for 40 years. Buy a house with a white picket fence. Get a dog. Have a couple of kids. Retire. And then die quietly. That is the plan. It is a script handed to you the moment you are born, and as long as everyone follows the script, everything is perfectly fine. Nobody panics when things go according to plan, even if the plan is horrifying. If I tell the press that tomorrow a gangbanger will get shot, or a truckload of soldiers will be blown up, nobody panics, because it is all part of the plan. But when I say that one little old mayor will die, well then, everyone loses their minds. Introduce a little anarchy. Upset the established order, and everything becomes chaos. I am an agent of chaos, and you know the thing about chaos. It is fair. The rules you follow every day, they are not designed to protect you. They are designed to limit you. They are designed to keep you predictable. Because a predictable person is easy to control. They tell you that failure is the worst thing that can happen to you. They teach you to fear it. From the moment you are in school, if you get a bad grade, you are a failure. If you do not get the promotion, you are a failure. If you do not make a certain amount of money, you are a failure. If you do not make a certain amount of money, you are a failure. They make you terrified of stepping out of line because they know that if you ever stop caring about their little gold stars and their approval, they lose all their power over you. Think about it. What is holding you back from doing exactly what you want to do right now? Is it physical chains? No. It is mental chains. It is the fear of being judged by people you do not even like. You are living your entire life based on the expectations of strangers. You walk through the grocery store and you act normal. You go to your office and you put on a fake smile and you ask your colleagues how their weekend was, even though you could not care less. You are suppressing your real thoughts, your real desires, your real potential, just to fit into a mold that was created by dead people centuries ago. It is exhausting, is it not? Pretending to be normal. Pretending to care about the things you are supposed to care about. The news, the stock market, the latest celebrity gossip. Who cares? None of it matters. It is all just noise to distract you from the fact that you are locked in a cage and you are the one holding the key. You need to realize that these rules, these invisible barriers, they only exist because you agree to believe in them. Money, for example. People spend their whole lives chasing paper with pictures of dead presidents on it. They betray their friends, they ruin their health, they kill each other for this paper. But it has no real value. It only has value because we all collectively hallucinate that it does. I once burned a giant pile of money, just set it on fire. You should have seen the looks on their faces. It was beautiful. It is not about the money, you see. It is about sending a message. The message is that your entire reality is fragile construct. When you finally realize that the rules are fake, that the expectations are meaningless, that the social contract is void, you wake up. You stop being a passenger in your own life and you start driving the car. And yes, maybe you will crash it. Maybe you will drive it straight off a cliff. But at least you are the one steering the wheel. At least you feel the wind in your hair as you go down. We are just getting started. The rabbit hole goes much, much deeper than this. In the next part, I am going to show you exactly how to break these invisible chains. I am going to show you how to find the ultimate freedom in being the villain of their story. Because being the hero is boring. The hero always has to play by the rules. The hero is restricted by morality. But the villain does whatever it takes. So take a deep breath, let the madness sink in, and prepare yourselves. They call you a villain the moment you stop playing by their rules. Have you ever noticed that? Think about the stories they feed you since you were a child. The hero is the one who sacrifices everything for the system. The hero protects the city, protects the banks, protects the corrupt politicians, and makes sure tomorrow is exactly as boring and predictable as today. The hero preserves the status quo, but the villain wants to change things. The villain looks at the rotten, decaying structure of the world and says, maybe we should just tear it all down and see what happens. And for that, they are hated, because people are terrified of change. They would rather live in a comfortable prison than face the terrifying reality of absolute freedom. When you decide to take control of your own life, you become the villain in somebody else's story. Your family might look at you differently. Your friends might tell you that you are making a mistake, that you are being reckless, that you need to be realistic. Realistic, that is just a word mediocre people use to justify giving up on their dreams. They want you to be realistic because your ambition highlights their cowardice. If you break out of the cage, it proves that the cage was never locked, and that makes the people still sitting inside the cage very, very uncomfortable. They will call you selfish. They will call you crazy. Let them. Madness, as you know, is like gravity. All it takes is a little push, and once you take that push, once you step over the edge, the view is spectacular. You stop carrying the weight of their expectations. You see, the people of this world are entirely dependent on validation. They post pictures of their food, their faces, their fake smiles, begging for a little digital thumbs up from strangers they will never meet. They are starving for approval. But when you stop caring about what they think, you starve them. You take away their power. You become untouchable. What can they do to you when you no longer fear their judgment? They cannot cancel you if you do not care about being part of their club. They cannot shame you if you do not feel guilt for living your own truth. You become a ghost in their machine, a glitch they cannot fix. They teach you that morality is this fixed, unbreakable law. But morals are just a cheap costume. Have you ever watched these so-called good people when the pressure is on? When the chips are down, these civilized people, they will eat each other. I am not a Mayachi. I am just ahead of the curve. I see them for what they really are. They are only as good as the world allows them to be. Take away the electricity, take away the food supply, take away their Wi-Fi, and watch how fast their precious morals vanish into thin air. They will turn on their neighbors for a can of beans, and yet they sit there in their clean shirts, judging you for wanting more out of life, judging you for refusing to be a slave to the clock. You need to understand that the rules of society are a game, and it is a rigged game. The house always wins as long as you play by their rules. So, the only way to win is to flip the table. Stop trying to climb their corporate ladders. The ladder is an illusion. You climb, and when you finally reach the top, you realize it is leaning against the wrong wall. You spent your whole life exhausting yourself for a title, a corner office, a slightly bigger paycheck, and for what? To buy more things you do not need, to impress people you do not like. It is a tragedy, but it is also a comedy, a hilarious, cosmic joke. If you want to find real power, you have to find it in the things they tell you to avoid. Embrace failure. They use failure as a weapon to keep you paralyzed. They make you think that if you fail, it is the end of the world. But failure is just information. It is the universe telling you that you need a better punchline. When you stop fearing failure, you become dangerous. A man who has nothing to lose, a man who is not afraid to fall flat on his face and laugh about it, that is a man who cannot be defeated. You try something, it blows up in your face. You lose your money, you lose your reputation. What do? You smile. You put on a happy face. Because you are still breathing, you are still in the game. And now you know exactly what does not work. Look at me. Do I look like a guy with a plan? I just do things. I am a dog chasing cars. I would not know what to do with one if I caught it. And that is the secret. The planners, the schemers, the rule followers, they are always stressed. They are always anxious about the future, always regretting the past. They are never just here. They never just exist in the moment. When you abandon the plan, you enter the present. You enter the chaos, and in the chaos there is infinite possibility. You are no longer restricted by what is supposed to happen. You can make anything happen. They want you to suppress your darker impulses. They tell you to be polite, to be quiet, to swallow your anger and your frustration. But that anger is energy. It is fuel. When you bottle it up, it poisons you from the inside out. You get ulcers. You get depressed. You feel empty. But what if you let it out? What if you stop pretending that everything is fine when it is clearly not? What if you take all that frustration, all that disgust for the mundane, boring, repetitive cycle of your daily life, and you channel it into something spectacular? You do not have to blow up a hospital to be an agent of chaos. You just have to stop conforming. Speak your mind when they expect you to be silent. Quit the job you hate without a backup plan. Tell the truth when it is uncomfortable. Dress how you want. Act how you want. Live how you want. They will look at you like a freak. They will whisper about you. But deep down, behind their judgmental stares, there is envy. They envy your freedom. They wish they had the courage to take off their own masks. But they are too scared. They are terrified of the unknown. You are not. You are going to walk straight into the dark and see what is waiting for you there. The path to true freedom requires you to burn your old identity to the ground. The person you were yesterday, the person society trained you to be, that person has to die. It is a painful process, letting go of everything you thought you knew, letting go of the comfort of predictability. But out of those ashes, something entirely new is born, something unburdened, something terrifyingly beautiful. You become a force of nature, and nature does not apologize for the storm. Nature does not ask for permission to strike with lightning. It just does. It exists in its purest, most chaotic form. That is what you must become, a storm in a world of fragile umbrellas. Let us talk about fear. Fear is the ultimate currency of the civilized world. You think money runs the show? Money is just the physical manifestation of fear. Fear of starving, fear of being left out in the cold, fear of not being good enough. They pump fear into your veins from the moment you take your first breath. They tell you to be careful. Do not talk to strangers. Do not walk in the dark. Do not take risks. They want you trembling, because a trembling hand cannot hold a torch to burn down the establishment. They use fear to keep you in a perpetual state of paralysis. You are so afraid of losing what little you have. your average job, your average car, your average life, that you never reach for anything extraordinary. You cling to the ordinary like it is, a life raft in the middle of a storm. But the raft is sinking. It has always been sinking. You watch the news, and what do you see? Disaster, disease, economic collapse. It is a constant feed of terror designed to make you run back to the safety of the rules. They say, look at how dangerous the world is. You need us to protect you. You need our laws. You need our surveillance. You need our surveillance. You need to surrender your freedom so we can keep you safe. And you do it. You hand over your autonomy on a silver platter because you are too scared to face the wild. But that I have been in the world. I live in the wild, and let me tell you a little secret about the monsters hiding in the dark. They are nothing compared to the monsters sitting in boardrooms wearing expensive suits. You take life so seriously. You treat everything like it is a matter of life and death. Your reputation, your bank account, your social status. You stress over a rude email. You lose sleep over a slight disagreement. Why do you care so much? It is all a cosmic joke. Look at the grand scheme of the universe. We are just tiny specks of dust, floating on a rock in the middle of an infinite void. And you are worried about what your neighbor thinks of your lawn. It is absurd. When you step back and look at the sheer absurdity of human existence, you only have two choices. You can cry about the meaninglessness of it all, or you can laugh. I chose to laugh. I highly recommend it. It is incredibly liberating. Tragedy and comedy are the exact same thing. It just depends on where you are standing. If you are on the stage, caught up in the drama, taking every line seriously, it is a tragedy. But if you are sitting in the audience, watching the actors stumble over their lines, watching the props fall apart, watching the absolute ridiculousness of the human condition, it is the funniest comedy ever written. You need to step off the stage. Stop being an actor in their play. Buy a ticket to the audience. Watch the billionaires panic over a stock market dip. Watch the ordinary people run around in circles chasing things they do not even want. Once you see it as a comedy, you can never go back to taking it seriously. And what about fairness? They tell you the world is fair, or at least they pretend they are trying to make it fair. They set up courts and judges and human resources departments to ensure fairness. But it is a lie. The system is inherently unfair. The rich get richer, the powerful get more powerful, and the people at the bottom get crushed under the weight of it all. They feed you this myth of meritocracy. Work hard and you will succeed. Follow the rules and you will be rewarded. How many hard-working, rule-following people do you know who are miserable, broke, and broken? Millions of them. The rules do not guarantee success. They guarantee compliance. Chaos, on the other hand, is completely objective. Chaos does not care about your bank account. Chaos does not care who your father is. Chaos does not care what neighborhood you grew up in. A bullet does not check your credit score before it hits. A fire does not ask for your resume before it burns your house down. In a world governed by chaos, everyone is truly equal. That is why they fear it. The people in power, they cannot buy off chaos. They cannot manipulate chaos. When the established order falls apart, their money and their titles become absolutely worthless. They become just like you, and that is their deepest, darkest nightmare. So why are you protecting their nightmare? Why are you holding up the very pillars that keep you trapped? Every time you bite your tongue, every time you nod along with a rule you know is stupid, every time you choose safety over your own truth, you are serving them. You are volunteering to be a brick in your own prison wall. Stop volunteering. You have this obsession with leaving a legacy. You want to be remembered. You want to build something that lasts forever. But nothing lasts forever. Empires fall. Monuments crumble. Names are forgotten. The sun will eventually swallow the earth, and every single thing mankind has ever achieved will be reduced to ash. Knowing that, why would you waste your limited time conforming to temporary rules? Why would you build a life based on restrictions? You should be living like a supernova, bright, explosive, and impossible to ignore. Burn so brightly that you blind the people trying to put you in a box. It takes a certain kind of clarity to see the world like this. It is like waking up from a long, confusing dream. You look at your hands and you realize you have always had the power to break the chains. The only thing stopping you was your own belief that the chains were unbreakable. They condition you to be passive. They give you mindless entertainment to keep you distracted. They give you processed food to keep you sluggish. They give you pills to numb your mind. They want you sedated. A sedated population does not ask questions. A sedated population does not rebel. But you are not sedated anymore, are you? You are listening to this because something inside of you is itching. Something inside of you knows that I am right. You can feel it in your bones. The dissatisfaction. The growing realization that you have been sold a lie. Do not ignore that itch. Scratch it. Let it bleed. That is the feeling of you coming back to life. That is the feeling of the anesthetic wearing off. The pain is good. The pain means you are awake. And once you are awake, you can never go back to sleep. You will see the strings attached to everyone around you. You will see the puppeteers, and you will find out that the only way to cut your own strings is to pick up the knife and the knife. People always ask me, what is the point? If nothing matters, if the rules are fake, if the system is a joke, then why do anything at all? Why not just lay down and give up? That is the question of a defeated mind. The point is not to give up. The point is to play the game on your own terms. When you realize that nothing matters, you are free to decide what matters to you. You get to write your own script. You get to invent your own rules. And society has been trying to paint a boring gray landscape on it for centuries. It is time to throw some red on that canvas. A lot of red. You see, the people who change the world, the people who actually make a dent in the universe, they are never the rule followers. They are the rule breakers. They are the ones who look at the impossible and say, watch me. They are the outcasts, the rebels, the crazy ones. They are the ones who are not afraid to be the villain in a world full of fake heroes. So wear that badge with honor. Let them call you dangerous. Let them call you unhinged. When they call you crazy, all they are really saying is that they cannot predict what you are going to do next. And unpredictability is the greatest weapon you possess. Let us get practical for a moment. You are sitting there, listening to my voice, feeling that rush of adrenaline, and you are asking yourself, what do I do now? How do I actually become this force of nature? It does not start with blowing up a bridge. That is too theatrical for a Tuesday. It starts with the small things. It starts with a simple word, no. It is the most powerful word in the English language, and you almost never use it. Your boss asks you to work late for the 5th time this week? No. Someone demands you attend a pointless social gathering where you have to pretend to be someone you are not. No. You see an expectation placed in front of you that does not serve your ultimate freedom. You smile, you look them dead in the eye, and you say no. Watch their faces contort. Watch the panic set in because the predictable little gear in their machine just stops spinning. Every time you say no to their script, you say yes to your own chaos. You start reclaiming your territory inch by inch. You stop apologizing for taking up space. Have you noticed how much you apologize? You bump into someone who is standing in your way and you say sorry. You ask a question and you preface it with an apology. Stop it. Never apologize for existing. Never apologize for having a voice. The world wants you quiet and submissive. When you speak with the volume of a crashing train, make them listen. And if they do not want to listen, make them deaf to anything else. Look at how they keep you sedated with shiny objects. They tell you that happiness is just one purchase away. If you just buy this car, if you just get this phone, if you just wear these clothes, you will finally be complete. It is a hamster wheel, and you are running until your lungs bleed. They want you in debt, because a person in debt is a person who cannot afford to cause trouble. A person who owes money to the bank has to wake up and go to that miserable job. Cut the strings. Stop buying their garbage. Realize that you do not need any of their plastic trophies to prove that you exist. When you stop consuming their lies, you stop funding your own prison. I once burned a mountain of cash just to prove a point. You do not need to burn your attachment to it. Money is just a tool, not a master, but they have made you a slave to the dollar. And what about the people around you? You surround yourselves with people who drain your energy just because you are terrified of being alone. You stay in miserable relationships because society tells you that being single is a failure. You nod along to the stupid opinions of your peers because you want to fit in. Fitting in is a disease. It robs you of your individuality. If the people around you cannot handle your unfiltered truth, then they do not deserve to be around you. Let them walk away. The silence they leave behind is much better than the noise of their fake companionship. When you stand completely alone, unbothered and unattached, you become invincible. This channel, Void Logic, it is not just a collection of videos. It is a philosophy. It is a virus. And you have just been infected. The logic of the void is simple. When you strip away the laws, the social norms, the morality, the credit scores, and the fake smiles, what is left? The beautiful, dark, silent void. The sporties. And in that void, the only logic that matters is your own. You become the creator of your own universe. But to build that universe, you have to tear down the old one. You cannot paint a masterpiece on a canvas that is already covered in cheap, mass-produced garbage. You have to burn the canvas. There is a choice standing in front of you right now. You can close this video, go to sleep, wake up tomorrow at the same time, put on the same clothes, and go back to being a battery for a machine that does not care about you. You can forget everything I just said and sink back into the warm, comfortable bath of mediocrity. Or you can wake up. You can step out the front door tomorrow morning and decide that you are no longer playing the game. You can look at the rules and laugh. You can embrace the chaos. I know what some of you are thinking. You think I am just trying to incite rebellion for the sake of it. You think I just want to watch the world burn. Well, maybe I do. But maybe the world needs to burn a little so the soil can be fertile again. Forest fires are natural, you know. They clear out the dead wood so the new growth can reach the sun. Society is full of dead wood, people walking around like zombies, repeating the same lines, living the exact same day over and until they drop dead. A little fire is exactly what this place needs. Do not wait for a savior. Nobody is coming to rescue you. Superman is busy doing photo ops with the mayor. Batman is too busy obsessing over his own rules to actually change anything. If you want to be saved, you have to save yourself. And the only way to save yourself is to become something they cannot control. Become the anomaly. Become the punchline to a joke they do not even understand yet. Before I leave you to your own twisted thoughts, we need to handle the logistics of spreading this beautiful disease. If you felt something today, if the anesthetic wore off, even just for a second, then you owe it to the chaos to push this forward. Hit the like button. Make the algorithm push this video onto the screens of millions of sleepy, obedient people. Imagine the shock on their faces when they hear this. Subscribe to the channel. Void Logic is back, and we are going to tear down the illusion piece by piece. And I want you in the comments. Tell me your first act of rebellion. Tell me how you are going to say no tomorrow. Write it down. Make it real. Let the world know that there is one less sheep in the herd today. You are standing on the edge of the abyss. Most people look down. They get dizzy and they step back. But not you are going to look down into the dark, and you are going to realize that it is not entity faint. It is waiting for you. It is welcoming you home. So do not step back. Lean forward. Let gravity do the work. Fall into the madness. I promise you, it is the most liberating feeling in the world. Once you hit the bottom, you will realize you can never be hurt again. The joke is on them. The joke has always been on them. They built a world of glass, and they handed you a hammer. Now smash it to pieces.